Hey guys, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, we're a homesteading and how-to channel. We're based out of Niagara Falls, Canada side. And today we're working on my wife's 2011 Mercedes-Benz gl350. It's got the V6 turbo diesel in it. And yeah, we're doing the oil change. So it's looking pretty straightforward. I haven't done this service yet. This is a new vehicle to us. From what I can tell, just getting underneath the truck. Tons of room. It looks super easy. Couple tools you need, but really it's not going to be too bad. Yeah guys, so if you got to change your own oil in your Mercedes and you don't want to pay the outrageous fees associated with these Mercedes, stay tuned, it's coming up. Alright guys, so tools for this job, pretty straightforward. You're going to need a 13 millimeter for the oil pan, which is located directly below the front end. It's not deeper in the engine like most vehicles. It's right off the front end, super easy to get to. You're also going to need a 10 millimeter socket to remove the underbelly shroud, the splash guard. I'm pretty sure you are. I've got mine laid out on the garage floor on the other side. Because I bought this vehicle, it didn't actually come with a splash guard. Everything was open underneath. So I ordered one all the way from Calgary. And it's not on the vehicle, obviously. So I'm not 100% sure if you need to remove it or not. It looks like you do. It's 10 millimeter. And when we get underneath the truck, I'm going to show you what... So those are the two sockets. Now, you will need a wrench to get the filter housing off. The oil filter on these trucks is... it goes into the engine bay like this. There's a housing that comes on. It's right at the front. Very easy to get to. Now they do make a proper socket for these. Special Mercedes-Benz, right? So I'm going to use these regular old oil filter wrenches I use on the Cummins. Just put a rag over my housing and just gently open it up. My wife drives hardly any kilometers, so I didn't really feel like buying the wrench when I'm probably doing this oil service like once a year. So you're going to get that out. You're going to need a filter, obviously. I'm going with the MAN filter. MAN makes really high quality filters. I've got a Provent 200 catch can that I'm going to be installing on these, on this engine, because it has massive oil blow by. And they're from MAN. So they make the high quality products. The filter here, HU821X. Okay. This filter I went with, they're pretty cheap, so there's no point in cheaping out and getting a really, really cheap one when a high quality filter's, you know, just a few bucks more. And now the oil. I did some research online, and nothing gets Mercedes-Benz owners fired up more than oil. I don't know why. The oil in this vehicle, people use all sorts of different types. You know, we're up here in Canada, we got some cold winters. This vehicle does make it all the way up to North Bay, Ontario, minus 40 degrees Celsius, which is actually minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm putting in some colder stuff. 540 is going in. I'm using Rotella T6. This is God's gift to the trucking industry. I use it in my Ram Eco Diesel. Truckers use it in their big rigs. The stuff lasts quite a bit, like insanely long. Guys are going 20,000 plus miles on this stuff. I'm probably not going to with this vehicle. Now this vehicle does have an emissions delete on it. The EGR is shut off and the DPF is hollowed through. So I'm not worried about clogging up my emissions. This works perfectly fine with the Eco Diesel, which this engine is actually, the Eco Diesel is based off this OM642 engine, I just found out. So they're very, very similar engines. This oil works great with the DPF and EGR on the Eco Diesel. It's the recommended oil for the Ram. So I'm going to use it in the Mercedes. So I use it in pretty much everything. Goes in my tractors, my quads, all my vehicles. So it makes it easy for me. One oil. So I'm going to be using 8.5 liters on this vehicle, okay? And then the last thing you're going to need is, you know, a funnel, pretty basic, and then obviously a pretty big oil pan, okay? So 8.5 is coming out. Could be anywhere to up to 9, depending on your dealership or your Jiffy Lube, whoever you want to. So just be ready for that. You know, get a nice 10 liter pan. You want a little wiggle room. Other than that, let's quit blabbering. Those are the tools you need. Oh, also a torque wrench if you're into that stuff. It calls for 33 foot-pounds of torque for the oil drain bolt. I'll put my torque wrench on it for fun. I don't usually, but for the sake of doing things right. All right, other than that, let's get underneath the vehicle. I'll show you guys the shroud I'm talking about, and we'll start draining the oil. All right, we're underneath the vehicle now, guys. Little pro tip, if you got an old rug, roll that out, catches the oil, and keeps you clean. Dual purpose. All right, so here we go. Here's the oil pan, right here. Now the shroud, I'm pretty sure, clips on the front here, on the front like I was showing you, and goes all the way back. So you'll need to remove that and gain access to the oil pan here. Okay, after you've done that, we will start draining the oil. All right, guys, I just noticed something here. I got these on the Rhino ramps, so the vehicle's like gravity's going backwards, and this drain plug is at the very front. So the oil is back there. I think I'm going to actually back off the ramps. There's plenty of room here. I'm going to back off the ramps and go on flat ground because I'm not liking the angle here. Like, I don't think I'm going to get all the oil out. So let me just reverse real quick. I'll get off the ramps and we'll continue. All right, so we're on flat ground now. There's definitely not as much clearance. You could probably hit the air ride and bring it up a little bit. I'm going to just hit it here. It's really easy to get to. Make sure your oil pan's situated. There she be. Definitely doesn't come flying out like the 3-liter diesel, that's for sure. Now I had my vehicle running for about 10 minutes when I woke up this morning, just getting it nice and toasty. The oil definitely wasn't super hot though. So now what we'll do is we'll go up and we will start pulling the dipstick and the oil filter housing. And that should help the flow a little bit. All right, so you've got your hood popped. Your shroud's very straightforward. Mine's got a couple of these tabs busted, so it comes off real easy. Give it a little wiggle. All right, so here's our oil filter housing. The dipstick's over here. It's red, kind of confusing. Usually red's transmission, but mine says 642 on it, which is the engine code on this. So I'm just going to open it up a smidge. That'll help introduce a bit of air, and that oil should drain out a little bit easier. Now this is on there, decent. What I'm going to do is, I don't want to damage the threads or nothing, so I'm going to put something over this. Like I said, if you drive a lot, you want to probably invest in the special wrench for these. For me, I don't know, I don't need to. I'm just removing this nice and easy. I can see some oil wanting to come out of the housing, so it's going to take my time. Let it come out. All right, at this point, I'm going to let all the oil drain out of the vehicle. I don't know how long it's going to take. I can hear it now. It's starting to slow down. And then we will get into changing the filter. Another little tip you can do too is take the oil fill plug out. Now, it's been about 5 minutes. Oh, there we go. Oil's all the way drained out. It's definitely a slow process. Like, if you want to get all the oil out, I think you need a solid 10 to 15 minutes with the engine decently warm, like mine was, to get the fluid out. You know, don't rush it. You want to do it right. Man, this thing is covered in oil. There's crap everywhere here. Doesn't look like I need an oil spray this year. All right, I still got a slow dribble, but my oil filter housing here, I can take the filter out now without making a huge mess. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and we'll go over to the teardown bench and we'll have a look at this filter housing, see how this thing's designed. All right. Now, I looked ahead inside of one of the filters. I got 2 oil rings. One big one, one little dinky one. Now imagine this big one goes around the filter housing, similar to the EcoDiesel. And then this little one must go on this, must be the seal for the oil drain on the bottom here. So, try not to make a hot mess. Just give it a firm little pull. That opens it up. Let's see here. This needle nose might work. Probably not the best way to take that off, but alright, so then I just held it, pushed in from this side, and the filter housing popped off. It doesn't look like there's an orientation to these. Alright, well, I had to do a bit of research there, because this filter is a little bit bigger, longer than my the one that was in there. I don't have a name on this one, so I don't know what it is. It's definitely not a Mercedes one, but it's just longer, so when I screw it on, it almost like it bottoms out. But anyways, we're going to give it a shot, so I made a hot mess here now. Right, so here's my new seal. Let's go ahead and put that on the filter housing. Bit of oil. That's on there. Now a lot of guys are going to say the filter is pre-contaminated, but let's be honest, it's not the end of the world. Get this big one off. Just got to give it a little bit of a pinch there. Roll that on, make sure you're on the right groove. This one's pretty straightforward. I don't know, feels pretty good. Let's give it a shot and I'll let you know if I lose an engine. Now this thing called, I think it says on the cap here, it's 25 Newton meters, which is not much at all, right? I'm just going to put my fancy rag over, give her a little, that's it. Alright, we're ready to put our oil drain plug back in, right? Put the housing in. I don't hear any more oil. Nope, we're looking good. So let's go back down here, we'll grab a torque wrench, and we'll torque her up. Alright, I got my torque wrench sent to 35 pounds. Calls for 33, but got a little bit of a dribble still. It's not the end of the world. It's kind of tricky to get back in. I can get my oil pan out of the way. I can't even use this big monster. Anyways, if you got a smaller torque wrench, put her to 33, hit her home. Just gonna do it the old, as tight as you can. There it is, that's it. 33 pounds is not a lot of torque, okay? So, that's that, that's down it. Now, most important thing, do not forget your oil pan. All right, we're back up top. I've got my oil drain in and torqued. Got my filter housing in, nice and snug. New O-rings. Ready to add the oil. So let's go ahead and do that. Like I said, 8.5 liters. I'm using 540. Now, I'm always a big fan of measuring cups. I mean, these work good if you can see all the way, but nothing beats a measuring cup. So 8.5 liters. So these are 1 liter. Well, I guess for this, I might as well just pour the 5 and go 6, 7, 8.5. So yeah, so I guess I'll take a minute here. If you're new here, guys, we do homesteading and how-to videos. That's kind of what I've been labeling this channel as. We got this 10-acre property out here in Niagara Falls. 130-year-old farmhouse that we're going to start a major 2-story addition on. Got a nice decent garden out there, getting the chickens going next year. And we do quite a bit of these maintenance videos. You know, part of being on a homestead, I believe, is just kind of taking care of yourself. I try to do all my own maintenance if it's within reason. Like, I'm not a mechanic. If I can figure it out myself, I'll do it. And I know when things are kind of out of my skill set. So I don't tackle jobs that I know I can't handle. So all this kind of stuff, it's very simple. Anyone can do this. I make these videos mostly because, you know, every now and then I forget how many liters or the filter or whatever. I'll reference my own videos even. And yeah, if you got a Mercedes-Benz, this OM642 engine, definitely subscribe, because I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of maintenance on this thing, bumper to bumper. And like I said, I'm going to be fitting an oil catch can on these things, and that'll be a separate video. But there is massive oil consumption on these engines, even worse than the EcoDiesel. So you'll want to watch that. So that's 5 liters. Let me go get the other 5 liters and we'll start adding it in. All right, so here's the 0.5. Now, it says it wants 8.5. I'm going to give it around 8.4. I'm a big believer of kind of going a little bit less and then letting the engine run for a few weeks, a couple weeks, and rechecking. I mean, if you add a little bit too much, it's no big deal. This thing blows so much oil, it's just going to come right back into the, it's going to blow it into the intake anyhow, so no big deal there. Okay, so that's the 8.5. There you go. Like I said, mine's a little bit wobbly, but no big deal. All right, guys, that's it for this little service here on the Mercedes-Benz. It's a 2011. It should be pretty much the same service for all the OM642 engines throughout the years. Ultra easy service. Anyone can do this. The last thing I got to do is go back into the Surface A and hit the reset on it. I'm going to be doing the cabin air filter, the engine air filter, some seals, front and rear diffs, the transfer case, transmission, fluid and filter. So I've got quite a bit of videos coming through. So if you got one of these trucks here, or the Q7 or any other vehicle that's a very similar engine like these, you want to consider subscribing. I'm going to be putting out tons of content. Already I've kind of ran into oil issues with these trucks. They're super reliable engines overall from what I can understand, but they suck in oil and they leak oil. So well, I'm going to go over all that. I'm going to do a nice overview of the truck, you know, kind of like a used buyer's guide. All right, guys, well, thanks for watching. If you're new here, consider subscribing. Like I said, if you're an existing subscriber, thanks for stopping by again. And yeah, we'll catch you on the next one. Take care.